and being smart with my play and playing within myself. 75% is all you need. Hey! Cross. Hey! Come on! Stop going so bloody big!
Ever want to play smart tennis, but you end up playing stupid tennis instead? It happens to me all the time. It happens to every tennis player at some point or another. That's why I made this special lesson. We're going to be diving deep into a recent match that happened on the Essential Tennis courts between Mike and Will. They're both former Division I college players and currently play 5.0, at least NTRP level of tennis. They're both coaches, so they're extremely smart, but they struggle with the same things the rest of us do as well, no matter what level we play. Let's listen in to what Will's mindset was like heading into this match after just the first couple of games of play.
But most importantly, got to get me into the rallies more. Got to see long exchanges. That's where I will win. The short stuff, he'll win, but the long stuff, I'll benefit from.
So you see there Will identifying early on, this is in the first game or two of the match, that he realizes and recognizes the longer the points go, the more he has the advantage. Mike is more of an attacking player, more of a net rusher. He wants to make the points go faster, and Mike realizes that's generally how he's going to have the advantage. But Will realizes that the opposite is true for him. This is why tennis is so much fun, because you get to see different styles clash and collide against each other and see who wins that battle of wills. But, get it? Battle, never mind. Even though Will recognizes this, the reality didn't end up always kind of meshing with his mindset.
Oh, too big, too early. Too big, too early. One more ball would have been lovely. It's so important that now I find a way of going to my routines, find those kind of patterns of play that I know are successful and playing smart. That's one thing I've got to do more is play smart. All right, see you next time.
So he's identifying again, I need to extend the points, I need to be smart. He's starting to talk a little bit about, and notice patterns. This is again, after just a couple, I think this is the second changeover of the match. And so he's seen the trends starting to play out. When this happens, I'm winning. When this happens, I'm losing. This is kind of lesson takeaway number one is, as a tennis player, if you want to play smart tennis instead of stupid tennis, then you need to be pattern aware. You need to recognize. So many tennis players go out and play matches like Will and Mike and don't even realize when the points are longer, I win, or when the points are shorter, I lose. Will is, of course, extremely, tennis intelligent. He's extremely experienced. He's a very high-level player, and he recognizes it. But actually taking charge of his points and reeling in his offense was kind of another story.
That's a nice serve. Look at that. Yeah, that's a good return. I'd like to see a little more depth on it, but
got kind of so lucky bad. There. Will was moving into the court and he ended up missing.
That was huge.
One on TV. It's all I want. Just one.
So did you notice what he said there at the end? We're starting to get a little bit into the psychology of this, and we're going to dive deeper into this because it's so important if you want to play good tennis and avoid the same kind of mistakes that Will is making. Even if it's at a different level, even if you're a 3-0 player, you're still going to be faced with these same kind of psychological challenges. Will said, I just want I want that shot that's going to go on TV. And a little bit tongue-in-cheek, he's kind of laughing at himself and kicking himself a little bit at the same time. But it's so true. We all have this temptation and this tendency to go for the highlight shot, even if we might know it's not the right shot. So Will's identified, I want longer points, and yet he's pulling the trigger super early. And you can see this kind of like psychological struggle as he reacts. And he's identifying and acknowledging in himself, I'm going for that big highlight shot, and I appreciate his honesty and transparency. Like he's being honest with himself and the rest of us that even though I know it's the right shot, it's still so tempting to go for it and pull the trigger. And so you see here that we're late in the first set. The first set continued to kind of play out very much in this way. You can go watch the full match on this YouTube channel, Essential Tennis YouTube channel, if you want. And it continued to play out this way. Watch this point. This is right at the tail end of the first set.
Hey.
Cross.
Hey. Cross. Hey. Come on! Stop going so bloody big!
And so the big question going into the second set was Will going to be able to make the appropriate psychological and pattern mindset shift? And this is why tennis is so fascinating because we have these two contrasting styles. Will, hardcore like baseliner. I don't think he came to the net more than once or twice the entire match. Meanwhile, Mike came to the net like 30 times. I think it was over 30 times. There's other lessons that I've done breaking down Mike's approaching and how effective it was. And so Mike is looking to close in and shorten, and Will is looking to extend. Tennis is incredible for this reason. You've got different personalities, different game styles, different approaches to the game, and then you get to put them together in an arena and see how they like battle it out and see which one comes out on top. So let's head into the second set now, hear a little bit of Will's like self-talk and self-coaching, and see if he's able to overcome this.
Nice. Okay, we're going backhand to backhand here. This is what Mike wants. But that's
I like that shot. I want to see more of that.
Hey, stay in the rally. Let's go. I've learned that I'm going to do better, the more I stay in these rallies. I can outlast him. He's not hurting me with any weapons. What's hurting me is myself. I'm the one that's going too big too soon. If I get in the rallies and stay that way with him, the errors will come. I've just got to stay in the rally and not let this ego of mine, which mine unfortunately is inflamed, in the way of things, going too big too soon. Be patient.
So notice Will's bringing the psychology element of it again. Earlier he was talking about that desire for the highlight shot, and now he's kind of connecting to that and bringing in this idea of like the ego. And he talks more about this. We'll listen to it in just a second, where he's talking about how he knows he has these big flashy shots. Like it's possible for him to make them. But on the other hand, what are the chances really that he's going to connect with them and land enough of them over the span of 2 hours or maybe even 3 hours to be able to win a whole match? Winning dozens and dozens of points that way repetitively is extremely difficult. And so he's having this internal struggle between the coach side of him, the tennis tacticianer that absolutely knows the percentages and knows that it's very unlikely for him to win, pulling the trigger again and again, and the ego, the side of himself that badly wants to prove how amazing of an athlete he is and badly wants to be on that highlight reel on ESPN or whatever it happens to be. And I think all of us need to acknowledge that this struggle sometimes happens. Some of us more than others. Will there, I really appreciate his transparency, saying, kind of self-identifying that his ego is a little inflamed. Some of us are a little more on that end of the spectrum. Other players don't feel the need to go for big flashy shots at all. You need to realize and understand and be honest with yourself about where you are on that spectrum so that you don't blindly go down this path of just beating yourself match after match. And just to show this isn't like a Will problem, Mike was having struggles with the exact same thing. Listen to this self-talk here from Mike.
That's a nice serve. Yes. Oh,
Let's go!
yeah.
He's found some success with that lower slice too.
Yeah.
Complete American stupidity. Just trying to hit harder and harder and harder.
Hey. Let's go. Come on. That's good. Again, stay in the rally. Stay in the rally. Ego of mine's been a problem. Control your ego.
So you hear Mike there kind of chastising himself about just going bigger and bigger and bigger. And you got to understand, at this level, 5-0 plus, former D1 athletes, you got to understand the weaponry and the firepower they have is really incredible. Either one of them at any given point, any given shot could potentially hit a winner. Whereas most of the rest of us, mere mortals, it's not necessarily usually on the table that, this is a ball I could hit a winner on. So it's even more difficult for them to balance this out. But that doesn't mean that we're exempt. I mean, I know I fall into this trap all the time. I tend to overdrive and hit super, super flat. Some people might go for too much on second serves and hit a lot of double faults. Or maybe you go for like a big swing volley when just a traditional, much more steady, consistent volley would totally get the job done. Let me know, what's your big, error in this way? When does your ego get in the way and you end up going for way too much? I'd be curious. Let me know in the comments down below.
Still a few ego issues. No, it's two backhands. The one down the line there was just too big. I could have it, but I don't need it. It's nice to have it once every so often. But every shot, that's what I've got to work on here, is controlling the ego and being smart with my play and playing within myself. My late great old man would always say, Will, keep it within. Don't go 100% because 100% is full risk. 75% is all you need.
Awesome commentary there from Will. He's just directly talking about that balance. Like, I might have the shot, but that doesn't necessarily mean I need the shot. And I love that idea of, yeah, I could hit at 100%, but 75% will probably get the job done. And most of us, assuming we're playing somebody that's right around our level and we're not playing somebody 2 levels above us, 75% most of the time, most shots against most people that we play against probably will be adequate, at least to make it competitive. And then from there, it's a matter of patterns and recognizing strengths and weaknesses and setting up those strengths and weaknesses. That's where tennis matches mostly are won and lost. It's not by hitting winner after winner after winner. If you think that's how tennis matches go, then you're not paying attention to real life matches. And I mean professional matches too. Most points end by a professional player even making a mistake, not hitting a winner. And so seeing Mike and Will kind of struggle and toil with that internally is super, super interesting because it's something we all deal with. And I just love hearing the commentary from both of them. Most of the discussion so far has been kind of big picture, macro, like sports, like psychology and mindset. But now let's dive a little bit more granular, a little bit more deeply in a more granular way. And let's talk about like shot to shot. How do we determine whether or not we should pull the trigger? Let's listen to Will's commentary here. Really smart.
Too big. Just want one more. Just one more ball.
Will absolutely knows what he has to do. It's just if he can have the mental fortitude to do it,
Yes.
not pull the trigger too
I
quick.
mean, and doing it is tough.
You don't need to go big because it's not there to hit. When it's there to hit, hit it. But it wasn't there to hit. It was too deep. Respect the shot.
So let's go back really quickly and look at the shot in question that he's talking about. So this ball right here, he's back, he's leaning away from the court. He's probably a solid 10 feet away from the baseline. And he's just telling himself, why are you going so big on that shot? I love that phrase that he used, respect the shot. And what he's really saying here is be situationally aware. Shot to shot to shot, not even so much big picture, but within a rally, within the context of an exchange back and forth. Is there actually an opening here, or am I trying to force it? I think that's a key takeaway for all of us. No matter what your level is, you have to be realistic and objective. What are my skills, and how challenging is the individual ball I'm receiving, so that you can make smart decisions and not make stupid ones. So big takeaways here from today's lesson. Number 1, most points end with an error. Even at the professional level, it might be a forced error or it might be an unforced error, but most points end with somebody making a mistake. And so going for big shot after big shot is probably not going to get you the results you want most of the time. Number 2, love this from Will, 75% is all you need. There's no need to go for the biggest, best shot you can possibly hit. Certainly not shot after shot. Number 3, don't let your ego take over and feel like you've got something to prove to yourself or the people watching or your opponents or anybody else. Number 4, let go of that highlight reel need to try to go for that TV-like shot. And number 5, the last one we just talked about, be realistic about what's actually there. If you can keep those 5 things in mind, then you can play much smarter tennis, avoid stupid tennis. And I know I need to remind myself of all of these things each and every time I play. And I thought watching Mike and Will battle it out was just such a great case study for both of them, but in particular for Will, watching him try to find that even kind of fine-tuned balance between going for too much or not enough. Thank you so much for watching today's lesson. If it was helpful, do me a favor and click the like button. Let me know what comments or questions you have down below. And if you'd like step-by-step instruction and guidance on how to develop every part of your game, make sure to get free access to my most complete online training program called Essential Tennis Academy. Just go to essentialtennisacademy.com. Thanks for watching. Catch you in the next video.